Hello, good evening, good afternoon, or whatever. Uh, I just realized I'm still struggling with the streaming settings, and apparently, right now I'm streaming at 640p. 648p. What kind of resolution is that? Hey, Cyan. Like, hey, Lenekis. Like, I'm trying. Before it was supposed to be at 1080p, but apparently it output something like 720p. And now I just decided to go with this super strange 648p. Still struggling with this. Oh, don't worry if it's I probably won't do anything super interesting like ever. Much less on stream, so go ahead, make some tea. Make some for me if you have any good tea. How is everybody doing? It's Saturday. Everybody having a nice relaxing weekend. I know what you meant, Vijaka. It's okay, I'm already hurt. Go make your tea. Yeah. So the plan for today is to maybe add some life to this scene, and still not sure how the overall art style will look like, but I do want to replace the capsule for the player. I want to have like a actual player model, and in my previous attempt at this concept of a game, I did make a character, and I have that character open right here. It's not great, but it is my actually best attempt at character creation and or design, so there's that. He's just called the Acolyte, and we'll just leave it at that because the name and the role might or might not be relevant to the story. Thanks. Yeah. So I had that character initially in the previous attempt at this game. So he is not rigged, as you. Oh, maybe he is rigged, but I think he's not rigged. Or maybe he's not rigged. I actually did all the rigging in Mixamo with like the automatic tool. It worked great, and I'm going to do that again, or maybe not even bother with that and just bring in the character from the other project, which is already rigged and has some animations and all that. So I think, oh, that's not a good program to open things, but oh yeah, it has an idle animation and all that. Oh, actually that 3D viewer isn't half bad. You can have lights. That's cool. Didn't know that existed. Every time I tried opening a 3D object before, it just opened with like the Windows Paint, and like I could see the 3D model, but all I could do was like paint on top of it. Then again, if they bothered to have an actual 3D viewer program, they could have made it good. Like just lights here, and oh, that's an ambient light, I guess. Yeah. Is that just like Lambert shading? Oh, that's a cool thing. You can see the stats and you can see how expensive this model is. But I mean, it's the player. He has to have all the triangles, right? No albedo, no normal. That's cool. Lots of bones. Struggling, showing the bones, hide the bones. Okay. Oh, there's the bones. Isometric. What's... That's messed up. Weird. And again, I got sidetracked. Sorry. Thanks, Vecherka. Yes, I did actually make it myself. It's as I mentioned, it's probably like my best attempt at a character in general, a 3D character. I'm not a 3D modeler. I'm trying to. I mean, I know the basics. I can make basic stuff, but yeah, not that good. And I was actually pretty inspired by the work of Fabian, who was in the stream the other day. And I neglected to share their Twitter, and that's bad. Let me find it. There you go. So, yeah. Yeah, the characters they're making are like super awesome and like so simplistic, but like they ooze design. And yeah, and I also dig the shading also, so yeah, there's that. Oh, I actually have oh, don't have that here. I do have like a cell shader in Blender just to see how that looks. And you know what, let me see if I can find the actual texture. Let me see. Crescent sun, assets, textures. Yes, there we go. Hey mates, how's it going? Yeah, this is actually the colors as well, and I found it really useful to have a cell shader in Blender as well to see how it would look. If also you want to see like the shader in Blender is like super simple. There's this very awesome node, the shader to RGB. So I'm just using like a diffuse BSDF, which is like Fong, or like really basic. It just has like a basic Lambertian shading, I guess, or maybe it has some other stuff, but it's like super simple. And then you can take that as a color and pass it on the color ramp, and yeah, that's how you can get to the shading. Rain effects in Unreal. What kind of rain effects? Like water streaks on vertical surfaces, or like water droplets, or what kind? Rain effects are so cool. So yeah, I can also change like how much this is getting affected, and I can even add like a even darker shade. Like this, I guess. So yeah, can do cool stuff with that. And yeah, I already have the shader and he's rigged and all that, so I am going to try and bring them over in the project. Let's see how that goes. Droplet particles and splashes in puddles. That's good. These are usually fun. I mean, yeah, it's a very discreet effect, but if you do it right, it can look like so beautiful. So they are a bit off scale. I mean, yeah, they're like what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 meters tall. Yeah. Well, they're gonna get scaled down, we know that. So let's see. Alright, and some more. There we go, I think that's a good hide, and I can hide the capsule now. Or just like remove it and remove the cube as well. They're a bit small now, maybe, but I mean, how tall is that? Damn, they're still like, are they actually over 2 meters? He's a tall boy. Let me just, I mean, it's always good to have like a actual, you know, measure scale. So yeah, that's a tall boy. I mean, everybody's going nuts for the vampire lady in Resident Evil, so, you know, why not have this boy being over 2 meters tall? But yeah, I guess I should tone it down a bit. Alright, how tall is that? Well, now he's short. I mean, he's just like 1 meter and 60? Damn, that's short. Okay. Cannot get at least like 180 or something like that. That's 175. Yeah, that's a good height. Okay, so 21. I should probably bring that camera a bit closer, I guess. Yeah, maybe these rings are a bit excessive now. So yeah, middle ring, maybe make it 10. Actually, all the heights should be like much less. So 2, 4. No, it's just like a plain third-person game. I do like the camera being higher up. So let's say 10, 15, 12. Yeah, 10 is fine. Yeah, I can change this to see the maximum height. That's a bit intense, so maybe make that 15. And that should be like this, and the list is alright, so maybe the camera goes a bit like this. Hey Ori. Oh, thanks for the follow, Austin Genevieve. So yeah, guess the sword is kinda big now. I mean, I should have measured before adding the character. Oh wow, and the slashing is huge. This thing is like 1, 2, 3. It's got like a 4-meter radius. Damn. Yeah, well, right now we're in Sephiroth territory. It's not even Cloud's territory. Oh well, let me first check at least. Ooh, that was controller hitting the desk. Okay, let's see how that at least looks like in terms of camera, I guess. I forgot I had like the bobbing walking animation, so that looks very ridiculous with an actual character. Oh, they can jump. Okay, I should reconsider some stuff. Let's see. Okay, first off, animator. What do I have here? Idle and walking bubble. Yeah, not quite. Let's eat this. Alright, I should bring the texture there. I should also bring the book. I don't have the book. Yeah, I'm pretty sure like that the enemies, if there are enemies, again I have no idea what I'm doing with this game, but I'm pretty sure that the enemies at least won't be actual bipeds, and there will be some kind of floating robot stuff, or like not robots, like sci-fi robots, more like Breath of the Wild robots, sentries and all that. So yeah, I will cut some corners there, but the boy at least should walk. I'll add the book later. Okay, let's fix the camera. Also the camera zone here now, it's damn, all that stuff should change. I will come up with a system for that at some point. So yeah, I want the camera to be at 0.5 so that I can see what it looks like in the idle form. Is that good? I want larger radius, like 12. Maybe. I don't know what I want, so that's an issue. All right, gonna bring over the sophisticated texture for the boy. It's just this, by the way. Oh, my face is hiding it. It's just this. Yeah, like I picked some colors, I guess. Materials. And yeah, the boy has color now. I probably want the boy, the acolyte. Well, in general, I want to have some cell shading just for like stylization and all. But I have a question. Should I keep it in forward rendering or should I turn over to deferred rendering? That's a tricky question. I mean, forward is going to be lighter in general. I'm not sure about anything, alright? But like if I had a lot of non-shadow casting lights, like point lights, deferred rendering would be better. Well, look, cell shading is impossible in HDRP deferred. No, I mean, you can go as complex or simple as you want. Here's the thing. The reason cell shading is like impossible. I was saying, at least in Discord, that it was an impossible thing to do with HDRP in shader graph. And that's because HDRP uses deferred rendering, I think by default, and I'm not sure if they're going to... I know that they will add forward support if they don't have already, but because either way they also support deferred, the shader that you make in shader graph basically takes place before the deferred stuff. So it's the same way with surface shaders, right? Shader graph basically is working like a surface shader in the built-in, which is that you can change all the stuff in your surface function, which is then sent over to do any lighting necessary, be it in forward or deferred or whatever. But if if in the surface shader you make a custom lighting model, then you basically hit deferred out of the window, and yeah, you just work in forward. But basically the surface shaders just get reduced to a fragment vertex shader, and depending on the depending on what you're using, forward or deferred, it behaves accordingly. In order to actually make cell shading in deferred and make it work in deferred and not just like have it on some objects with a custom shading model, a custom lighting model, which makes them being rendered in forward along with everything else in deferred, if that makes sense. In order to do that, I would have to modify the internal deferred shader that Unity uses and basically apply cell shading for everything in the game, which I'm not sure if it's a good or a bad thing. Yeah. There could be some other stuff that you could do, like for example, I could use some sort of material IDs, which I'm not 100% sure of how to do that, and basically have the deferred shaders say that, oh, okay, if this is using like this material ID, then treat it as cell shaded, but if it's like I mean, can you do that? Could you do that? The lighting model in HDRP by changing the internal stuff of the package. Probably. I mean, I'm pretty sure that, yeah, you can, but because I mean, HDRP, you can change the whole thing with HDRP. Like you can change the whole package and make your own custom HDRP fork, basically. Like at work, we have some sort of like modified HDRP for some stuff. So yeah, you can do that. But A, do you want to? And B, can you actually, like, do you have the ability to go into whatever fresh hell is going on in this undocumented mess that is HDRP. So yeah, those are the questions. You know what? Just for a laugh, I'm going to make a deferred shader, a deferred cell shading version for this, and just so that you can also see how that works. I don't know if I have Lady Rose in the chat, but maybe she'd be interested in that. If you want deferred, you cannot have your customer. Yeah, you're very correct, Eury. The thing is that if you want to have actual cell shading in deferred, you don't make a custom lighting model like in a surface shader, but you actually modify the whole deferred shader. I will show by example. Right, so if you go in your project settings and I don't hide it, right? Okay, so if you see here in built-in shader settings, there is the deferred place, and also I can show it here better. Okay, or I can actually pop it out. Come on. Okay, all right. Here you can actually see all the different shaders that you can change, which is like a deferred shader, which is what I'm going to change. Deferred reflections, I might change that because you will see that even if I have cell shading, I still get like reflections from reflection probes and it still looks kinda PBR, and I maybe not want that. Legacy deferred, not using that, not going to do anything about that. Screen space shadows, don't even want to try and see what that's about. That's also something cool. Depth normals. So you might have seen if you make like image effects, post-processing effect shaders, at least the old way, maybe before the post-processing stack, or even with a post-processing stack actually. You know the camera depth texture, and the camera depth normals texture. So here's the thing. In deferred shading, I will assume that you know what's the difference between forward and deferred shading. If not, let me know. Yeah, there is a depth normals texture. I actually use it. Hold on. I actually use it in the edge detection image effect, which I also have in my very handy tutorial. I'm using the depth normals texture, which gives you like the wall space normals of the whole scene in the first 3 channels, and you get also the depth in the alpha channel, and you can unpack it and get that juicy data. Deferred rendering renders the scene again for each line. Oh no, that's almost forward actually. The forward rendering renders not the scene, but like every object gets another pass for each light. So if you have like 5 lights on top of one object, that object will technically be basically be rendered 5 times in very simple terms. Yeah, it was kind of backwards. Deferred is the other way around. Basically, you all the data you need to light your scene, so color, smoothness, metallic, emission, normals, all that stuff, they are put into big textures, big buffers. They're called G buffers, and when you get all these, then you apply whatever shader you want on those data, on that data. So that means that you don't actually have cost per light, because you know the light just writes to the G buffer, and that's about it. The object doesn't actually care about the lights that are affecting it. You don't get the same with shadows though. With shadows it's still an issue. So I was saying about depth normals. Actually that was a good pass, because as I mentioned, with deferred shading you get the world space normals and you also get depth in your G buffers. In forward rendering you don't have like these G buffers, and the depth normals texture is actually a camera pass with a replacement shader. So if you're familiar with replacement shaders, it's a very simple concept. You basically tell your camera, hey, render everything, but instead of the shaders that they're using, take this shader. And it renders every object with the shader that you give it. It replaces the objects based on some tags. So you can actually have the replacement shader. Oh, thanks for the follow, Mavericks. Yeah. So you can say that, okay, replace the shaders with this tag, with this shader, and so on and so forth. It's actually very handy for like some effects. And yeah, Unity, when you ask it to give you the depth texture or the depth normals texture, and you're like in forward, it basically runs a replacement, a render with a replacement shader, and that replacement shader is this one right here, the depth normals that's using the built-in shader. That's where I was going at. Same thing goes with the motion vectors. You can get motion vector textures in your shaders. Maybe you can probably do a lot of handy effects with that. I haven't played a lot with it, maybe I should. Same goes with light halo and lens flare. Haven't even tried those. They might be fun. I'm too afraid to ask what's going on here, so cube blur. Huh. Those are fun. Anyway, but the main thing that I wanted to mention is that you can change the deferred shader here. Can you put any shader in there? Well, yes, but it won't necessarily work. So let's grab Unity's actual deferred shader. Let's see. So in case you don't know, I will also link that there. In case you don't know, if you go to the download archive of Unity, you can get obviously older versions of Unity. Here you go. But if you open the drop down, the downloads drop down, you can also get the built-in shaders, which is a zip file with all your shaders. All the Unity shaders that it's using internally. And you will see, yeah, it's very neat and very cool for reference as well. You can get so many useful stuff from that, and now this is a very good case to show that. So in the default resources, it's not here, it's in default resources extra. These are the main shaders that you probably want. You can also actually find the, like for example, let's see, standard shader. Here is the actual standard shader. Like you can see all the properties in here, but you what? No, that's so again. But you actually won't get a lot of information here. It's just like a bunch of passes. But because it's actually including some other stuff. But yeah, you can dig in and find some cool info in there. What we want is the actual internal deferred shading. There we go. I'm going to make a shader in my project. Okay, I'm gonna call it, hold up, shader. Okay, I'm gonna call it, I don't know, cell shading deferred cell shading, I guess. That makes more sense. Much more sense. Deferred cell shading. Alright. This is now just an unlit shader. It does nothing. But I can open this up. I can copy all the things in here. Put all the things in there. Change maybe the name because I don't know, just organization, I guess. Deferred cell shading. Alright. Close that up. Now let me zoom in, you probably can see a thing. And now, if instead of the built-in I say, well, if I say no support, am I using deferred? No, I'm in forward. I had it in forward because of the orthographic camera, but that ship has sailed. So here, yeah, there's also one more problem with deferred. I couldn't use orthographic cameras in deferred. So yeah, I just said don't support the deferred shader, so we can't see anything. If I go to built-in, we can see everything back again. And in custom shader, I can just drag this here. And suddenly, nothing, obviously, because I just copied the internal Unity shader, so everything is the same. But now I can change stuff. It's actually a remarkably small shader. Like this is it, and like this is all we'll need really. That's it. That's all the thing. Basically what it says is that, you know, okay, you can get your world position, the screen UVs. I mean, in all fairness, this method is probably 10k lines long. Well, you know what? Let's just see. Remember how I thought that this stream would be about character animations? Anyway, so in CG include we can find the Unity PBS lighting. Unity PBS lighting, there we go. Oh, still not that big. Oh no, I mean, yeah, it was a fair assumption though. So it's a Unity BRDF PBS. So depending on shader targets and all that, it's a different method. So let's see what that is, I guess. Yeah, okay, can I... I'm trying to actually find what it's doing. Oh, here by the way you can find what it ends up doing in the standard shader. So if you have like a specular or like specular deferred or yeah, the lighting standard, so the metallic workflow and all that. Yeah, so you can dig in much deeper, but in any case, we don't really care about this because we're not doing a BRDF thing. We're not doing a physically based renderer. It's going to be cel shaded. By the way, you can see that things work in deferred by the debug stuff here. So you can see like the albedo that you get from the albedo gbuffer. Same goes for like specularity, smoothness, normals, all that juicy stuff. And we can see that in action by, let's say, returning the whatever the gbuffer 0 is before we return the actual result. So does that look familiar? It's whatever we get from this. Almost though. I mean, you can see that there's a slight difference because, as I mentioned, we still get reflections. We will fix that. But yeah, right now I'm just outputting the albedo, so if I wanted an unlit deferred version, that would be it. Let's see what gbuffer 1 has. I think it's... what is that? Not sure. I think gbuffer 2 should be normals? Yeah. That's cool, you can do a lot of cool things with that. And what does gbuffer 0.alpha hold? I think 1 is actually smoothness, that's a good call. Oh, it's specular. I think it's a specular color. I think it's specular. It's specular and metallic, I think. Let's see what the R is. Okay. Oh, here we go. That's something at least. Yeah, so the alpha channel is the smoothness. So that's something. Yeah, instead of trying to guess that, I can just open Unity's manual. There we go. And you can see RT0 is the diffuse color, RGB, and you have the occlusion on the alpha channel. RT1 is a specular color or RGB, and you get your roughness or like the inverse smoothness on the alpha channel. RT2 is the wall space normal, and the alpha channel is unused. That's cool. And you also get a third one, which is like for emission, lighting, light maps, reflection probes, and all that stuff. And you also have like a depth and stencil buffer, but yeah, whatever. And there's an RT, yeah, if you're using shadow mask or distant shadow mask, you get one more as well. So, these are the stuff that, you know, Unity uses, but the cool thing also is that we can actually write our own shaders that write all the data we want to those gbuffers, and we can basically go crazy, more or less. So for example, we can use the unused alpha channel on the second gbuffer to hold, I don't know, other data that we might want. So yeah, cool thing. So if I were to make a cell shading here, I would just like comment this out, and I can start by getting the all-time classic n.l. So we have the normals, we know that it's the gbuffer 2, right? So let's get the gbuffer Deferred 2. What is light? Oh, you can actually get the light.dir for the direction. Deferred 2 .rgb, I guess, with the light dir. Let's normalize things, just, you know, and let's return that. See what that does. There we go. Lambert shading, just like that, but for everything. Everything is using like the standard shader right now, and I'm just playing around with a deferred shader inside. Cool thing that I want to try, and I hope I don't get embarrassed. Yeah, there we go. It's kinda working with other lights as well. It's a weird. Well, I guess, yeah, I should probably also multiply it with attenuation. That makes sense. There we go. So, yeah, out of the box I have support for multiple lights. There you go, have another light and another light. Like in a vertex fragment shader, to do that I would have to write at least 2 shader passes and another one for the shadow casting, so make that 3. And yeah, no, right now just everything casts shadows, it receives shadows, you get light, all that stuff, all that cool stuff. Alright, I have my end.l here, let's step it up. Or maybe even better, let's round it up. So, or just, how to call it, S and dot L, so like stepped, but yeah, whatever. It's going to be this, let's say 4 light bands, and let's return this, and we get some cool stepped lighting in everything. Look a bit like Spotlight. It did before because I didn't change the attenuation. I didn't multiply with the attenuation, but actually, you know what? You're not wrong. They do look like spotlights. Oh, that's because I think I know the answer to that. Let me hide that. Okay. So yeah, it's because I'm doing, when it's a directional light, you just get the direction and you're over with. But you know, with point lights, you actually have to get the position, right? So yeah, because point lights don't have like a direction like directional lights. You get their position. So that's why that looks wrong. And I'm glad you brought it up, because let's see how I can fix that. I think I should... I'm not sure, but I'm using the Unity Light struct here, which I think it's in Unity PBS lighting. Let's see that. Oh, that's the one I had opened before, right? Alright, let's see. Okay, so that's not it. Also, yeah, I was wrong. I think that's the one I wanted to open before. Unity standard BRDF. So what does that do? Oh, here's the actual physically based lighting. It's also not that huge of a file. That's interesting. I'm not sure about the one on the alpha channel. I think I can get that information from calculator that was no longer stored. Do not use it. Okay, yeah, I would assume that. So I think that if you're not using a directional light, this is actually the position, not the direction. GI input, and you can get the attenuation and all that cool stuff. Right. Let's see what that does as well. So Unity standard from standard data from gbuffer. I think that's in Unity gbuffer. Unity gbuffer. Yep, there you go. It just gets. That's handy. You can see exactly what its gbuffer holds. So yeah, diffuse color occlusion, specular color smoothness, and the normal world changed, remapped to go from 0 to 1. And yeah. I want to try something. Okay, so if you're using a point light. Oh, wait, no, that's still wrong. Okay, that explains why some of my previous stuff weren't working. You can tell that I haven't really played a lot with deferred stuff. So maybe it's gonna be all forward. Yeah, point spotlights not really working. I'm curious to see if that works. Hold up. Yeah, it's no longer used. Oh, I can maybe take a look at this. Probably in Unity Deferred library. What was it called again? Unity Deferred calculate light currents. Oh, here we go. There we go. here are some interesting things to use. Okay, so let's try some stuff out. Yeah, I wish that too. But now with the SRPs, that documentation would be an absolute nightmare. I mean, it still is, but... Okay, so... if define... let me go here again. Okay, if define directional, that's your n.l. If it's like a point, that's what it's using, right? Yeah, if it's a point light, you know, I'm just gonna steal that thing. And light there, it's the opposite. Weird. Alright. No, that didn't work. Am I doing something really wrong here? I mean, probably. Hold up. The normals are wrong. Hey, Specs! Well, I started with bringing this character in, and then I decided that I wanted to add some cell shading like I have here in Blender, and then I was trying to think if I wanted to be in forward or deferred, and now I'm playing with Unity's internal deferred shader to make everything cell shaded, and I'm not having a good time doing that. Alright, so I did a stupid thing. So since the normals are in the G buffer, yeah, see, I should have used this instead of whatever was going on there. Alright, this is looking better. Do I have a spotlight? No, because I haven't defined something for that. Alright. Yeah, Manuela is like... she is the goddess of deferred. Alright, we have shadows, that's cool. Do I have a directional? I do have a directional. Is it lighting stuff properly? I mean, it's shooting that way, this is lit, this is not lit. The whole thing is pretty lit though, but like in a slang kind of way. I do have the point light working here. And you know what, I'm gonna also fix the spotlight since I'm here. But oh, it's minus? So this is like the world position minus the light position, and then you normalize that and take the negative. And this is light position minus world position, and you just normalize it without negating it. I'm not going to pretend that I understand why this is happening. So, you know, just put that in there. All right. Cool. Do I get a spotlight now? I do. It's looking marvelous. Alright. Let's try again with a stepped. Okay, directional light is working with that. If I turn that off, I guess the point light also works with that. If I increase the range or like the intensity or like the angle, oh yeah, it actually makes sense because the rest is actually managed from the attenuation. Yes, it is the attenuation. Benefits of deferred. Well, if you want cell shading, like if you want a custom lighting model, you can only really use forward. Technically, it would work in deferred as well. Well, it will work next to deferred, but it won't actually work in deferred. You can use a custom lighting model, and you can have your camera on deferred. But basically, anything that uses a custom lighting model will be rendered in forward and then, you know, composited with the rest of the deferred stuff. The benefits of deferred versus the average, like the forward in terms of, like in general, is that in deferred is generally slower because you have to render all the G buffers first and wait for them and then combine them. While in forward, every object is, you know, responsible for its own shading. But because of the way deferred works, you can have as many non-shadow casting lights as you want with very minimal overhead, because you don't have to render the object for every time it receives light. And also, I mean, you can assume that it's also like an organizational advantage, because you just have like the one shader, like one deferred shader for everything. So you don't have to, you know, manually change the way that each object gets shaded with, you know, if that makes sense. It's kind of you can think of it as a global thing, because as I mentioned, you have these G buffers. These you can see here when you select the debug thing for the deferred. Like, that's what my camera is getting. It's getting a big screen space texture with like the color, with the specular, the smoothness, and the world space normal. And instead of making the lighting calculations and the shading for each object, it just takes 4 or how many ever big textures and does all the calculations on that. So yeah, let's round up the attenuation as well, see what that does. All right. And if you make it a spotlight, that's cool. And yeah, because of the way deferred works, I mean, I did no extra work to make shadows working. So here I have some shadows. No extra work to make shadows working or like extra lights. Okay. So yeah, things just work. And that's also the really cool thing with, say, object shaders that work with deferred. You can, like, if you're using Unity's built-in deferred shading that handles all the physically based rendering, you can write very simple, actually vertex fragment shaders that just work in Deferred. Like literally, they just work. You can make a simple vertex fragment shader that is a little bit different than the default one, and you can just modify what's going in the G buffers that the deferred shading is gonna get to make your final rendering. And that's a very key element. If you know what, I will let you think about it. What would that be useful for? Like, okay, let's forget about URP, HDRP, shader graph and all that stuff. Let's stay in good old Christian built-in render pipeline, right? You can make a custom surface shader, and there, you know, without changing the lighting model, you can change whatever is in the surface method, and you can do custom stuff there, like, I don't know, dissolving or whatnot. And it can work automatically with lights, shadows, shadow casting, shadow receiving in both forward and deferred. And now I'm asking you, what would be the benefit since you already have that surface shader thing, what would be the benefit of having a vertex fragment shader that works only with deferred, but you can make it work like a surface shader, so you can get lighting, shadows and all that stuff, but only deferred? What would the benefit of that would be? What would it be? Is what I'm asking. Yeah, no, I mean, and then the object shaders that work under. Well, yeah, no, besides all that, besides like the way of how deferred is working, I'm just saying, like, forget the deferred shader for everything. I'm just saying that, you know, with a vertex fragment shader, a normal vertex fragment shader, you have to add additional passes for shadow casting, and you need to do custom things to get shadow receiving and multiple lights and all that stuff, right? But you can actually write a specific type of vertex fragment shader that works only in deferred, and it gives you automatically all the stuff you need for lights and shadow receiving. For the shadow casting, you still have to add another pass, but forget about that. I may not be explaining it properly because I'm a bit sleepy today and I can't talk properly. So yeah, in deferred it's really easy. It's like a few lines of code. Exactly. Have to send a big base lighting shader. Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, that's just, in general, the good thing about deferred, but I'm talking about this vertex fragment shader. Anyway, it's something maybe definitely not obvious, but it was really exciting for me. I'm gonna flip the question. Can you use geometry shaders with surface shaders? Like if you want to make a geometry shader grass, will it work in a surface shader? It should not. So if you wanted to have a grass shader in your geometry if you want to have grass with a geometry shader, but you want it to also have automatically lighting and shadowing and all that stuff. Do you see where I'm going with this? Yeah, so if you're using deferred shading, you can have a geometry shader, like a grass shader for example, that is automatically working with lights and shadows and all that stuff. That's awesome. Because yeah, otherwise you'd have to do all the stuff with multiple light passes and all that crap. But if you just write to the G buffers, then the deferred shading takes care of everything. Exactly. Yeah, so specs. Exactly. All the stuff that get abstracted in the surface shader, most of that stuff also get abstracted when you're writing a vertex fragment shader that works with deferred, because you only output like your color, your normals, and you write on the G buffers, and that's it. You don't care about lighting. All that stuff gets taken care of in the deferred shade pass. You cannot write in the G buffers in the geometry pass, but you can write in the fragment pass. So if you want to pass any information from your geometry pass to the G buffers, then you just, pass all that information from your geometry shader to your fragment shader, and you write that stuff onto the onto the G buffers. So actually, you know what? Let me see if I can find it here. Though it might take some time to open up. Oh, of course, it's the wrong Unity version. Let's say this one. What's that specs? Oh. Yeah, it's absolutely the best place to start off. And since you mentioned it, let me put a link here. Yeah, so this is Manuela's Patreon. She has amazing tutorials for shaders, and she also has a bunch of stuff on deferred. Let me see. Yeah, deferred rendering. There we go. Yeah, and actually maybe that's a blog post that I need to read carefully as well, because I haven't actually read that. But yeah, it's probably the best thing out there to get into deferred shading. Deferred shaders in general. I mean, she's mainly talking, if I'm not mistaken, yeah, she's mainly talking about what I'm doing here with deferred shader in the internal deferred shader, and not so much for like vertex fragment shaders that write to the G buffer. So maybe that's something to keep in mind. Alright, so this, by the way, is looking good. Let me see. I think emission should, yeah. Emission is being added on top and on its own, and I'm not sure where. Oh, I think it's where is it? Where is it? No. I haven't really found where it's adding the emission. It's weird, but yes, somewhere along the pipeline the emission stuff is getting added. So yeah, now we have like bandit lights here. They're looking good. The intensity is not doing anything yet because I'm only using the end-to-tail and attenuation, but I can, let's see. I think light color should do it. Yo. Oh, yeah. So now I can also change the color here. There you go. No shadows. Can make it a point. I'm glad I'm converting all of you in the church of Deferred. And because, I mean, it's total anarchy, cool thing is that if you're using a custom lighting model, even in Forward, because of the way attenuation works and some stuff that I never really managed to figure out, you can't really easily get colored shadows. But here in Deferred, you have to basically think abstractly, completely abstractly, and you know, you don't really have light and normals and geometry and shadows and depth and all that stuff. No, you just have pictures, you just have some textures and you do stuff on them, like you're just reading data. So that means that we can get a shadow from the attenuation thing, right? And so this is basically our shadows, right? So I can actually just take this, right? And we can get freaky with it. So let's, instead of multiplying with a shadow, we can change basically the shadow color. So let's say all shadows are red now. Sorry, it's the other way around. Get them in. Come on, okay. Fantastic. Yeah, okay. Who knew that 4-dimensional vectors need 4 components? All shadows are red. If I actually set that to be 0, come on. we get the same effect as before. It's not completely black, you can see from like color picking. It's not completely black because I still have ambient lighting, or actually I still have the reflections even if I turn the ambient lighting off, right? But you know, I can have like a really soft, like purple, yeah, that's not very soft, but I can get colored shadows just like that. Alright, cool, the other project just opened up. So that was the state of the previous attempt on that project. It's using the Deferred again for a bunch of stuff. And I have this very lovely juicy grass that you can see here. So this is running in Deferred, so I can actually show the debug stuff on the Deferred. Yeah, that was a different iteration on what I'm trying to do now. This was more third person, and I don't know, I really don't know what I'm doing. I'm just remaking the game in the hopes that I will actually make something more this time. Then again, if I don't plan anything out, I will probably still end up doing the same stuff over and over, but whatever, it's okay. Just cool things to show on stream, I guess. So yeah, you can see that this is actually a geometry shader. Thanks, Vecherka. Yeah, the trees do look good. I don't know if you remember, I think you were here before when I mentioned that I have gotten a lot of mileage from that stylized wood texture. Yeah, it's here too. It's everywhere. Yeah, this is a geometry shader that is working with Deferred. Whoa, wrong thing. That it's working with Deferred. So it responds to lights and it receives shadows. If I want, I can make it cast shadows as well. But like, I can make it cast shadows. And I think you can see. Oh, sorry, wrong thing. This is it. There we go. It can cast shadows as well. Let me maybe remove the light to see. No, that's much worse. Yeah, maybe here it's easier to see. Yeah, here these are the shadows from the grass blades. But yeah, I can turn that off. And that's a geometry shader. And you know, actually having multiple lights and all that stuff is not really easy. So yeah, that's a cool thing. And I will also show you one more trick that I did for this grass. So these are the normals. This is the normal buffer. Can you see anything weird happening here? Let me switch back to the actual scene. You can see a whole lot of grass here. And it's working with Deferred, like you can see the grass here as well. Anything weird happening here in the normals buffer? Bingo. Exactly. The grass is there, it hasn't disappeared, it just uses the normals from the terrain. And that gives a really uniform lighting style, and yeah, you don't have to worry about noise pretty much. I can also show you the shader. It's a mess. But I can show it to you. I mean, even the name, you can tell that I was just doing a whole bunch of stuff. It's called Terrain Quad Grass Only. A whole lot of comments. This is the geometry shader. Just it's not the same as the tutorial I have, because it's not making each blade individually. It's making quads, and I'm adding a texture, a cutout texture on top. So less vertices, and yeah, less vertices pretty much. So this is the pass for the forward rendering. It's completely hacky. It's using like the world space light position 0, so it only reacts to the first light, the main directional light, and that's about it. And then there's the deferred. As I mentioned, it is a vertex fragment shader that it's a little bit more special. So that's not what you're usually used to seeing in a fragment shader. It's usually like this, the SV target and all that crap. But instead, this is outputting to multiple targets, which are the G buffers. And Unity also has some deferred utilities that are pretty cool, so you don't have to worry about that stuff. And yeah, I'm just saying that, you know, this is your color, no occlusion, no specular, no smoothness, I don't care. My normals are these normals, like in world space. Packing these up in the G buffers, adding some emission as well, and sending it to whatever the deferred shader is doing. Don't care. I still need to have the pass for the Shadowcaster though. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because the geometry shader won't be writing into the G buffers, the fragment shader will be writing, and you can just pass whatever information you want from the geometry shader to your fragment shader, and then over to the G buffers. Right now, if I'm not mistaken, yeah, this is the normal here. Yeah, alright. Yeah, so if I wanted, I'm not using this anywhere, right? Yeah. You know what, just for fun, I think this should be... Oh wait, I'm confused. You know what? Just add it to everything. Just it's okay. Okay, let's see what happens now. My lighting is going to be much messier. Wrong project. Yeah. So the shading now, it's all over the place. And you can see why, because now my normals look like this. They follow the quads now instead of the terrain. So lighting is going crazy. But now it's going back to whatever the terrain has, and it's smooth. So yeah. That's going to be like the whole main thing about this game, by the way. I just need to find cool ways to convey the story of this. Anyway, going back to Deferred. Okay, so I don't really want colored shadows though, or not now at least, so just multiplying whatever with the shadow is good enough for now. Those are very good questions, Specs. Here's the thing, I want to make a whole bunch of different games. I want to make like quirky adventure games. I want to make stuff like Breath of the Wild. I mean, you know, I know that none of these are possible, but you know, I'm just telling you my overall purpose here. So I want to make stuff like Breath of the Wild. I want to make something like Link's Awakening, where, you know, combat isn't like that big of an aspect. It's more like an adventure, and you have some story and you have like some progression, something like that. I want to make something abstract and gritty and dark, and this project can go any way of these. I think it should be more focused on the story. I guess the combat and any other gamey elements like the dashing and jumping and whatnot are there to like complement the journey, I guess. And again, if I end up keeping all those, I might just make it a walking simulator at the end. I don't know. So yeah, I don't know how to answer that. I did plan today to like sit down and maybe write some plan about what this game should look like in terms of progression and, you know, the whole thing. But I didn't have much time today, and I ended up making some iced coffee and watching Good Girls, which is a pretty cool Netflix show, by the way. Yes, Rex, I should probably definitely do that. I'm not good at that though. I'm not good at planning. I know, Specs, I'm very aware. I'm very aware. Fun fact, I am planning to use this really great tool. I don't know if you know it. It's called Milanote. It's a very awesome mood board tool that you can also use to like write stuff and, you know, make charts and all that stuff. So eventually I'm going to use a board for the game. This is for a different concept that I wanted to... yeah, it's milanote.com. Yeah. Yeah, and you have a you can bring over like images and links and videos. It's like really cool. I also have a bunch of like VFX references in here as well. I don't use it as often as I should, but yeah, it's pretty good. The only thing is that you can only have like 100 cards or something like that in the free version, but I can refer a friend, so if you use that link I can get more cards, and then maybe I can plan out this game. So here's something to consider. Yeah, maybe Figma is pretty good too. Is it like free? Like you can use and you can use how many ever cards you want and all that stuff? Because then maybe I could swap to that. Figma is pretty great. Anyway. Oh, and thanks for the follow, Lueli. Forgot to mention it. Cool beats. Alright, so I now have my shading and all that. I don't have any specularity though, so I can add that as well. I will cheat a little bit though. Alright. Glossy environment. Do I have that too? Oh, wrong thing. Right. So I'm gonna get some reflection going as well. How did that work? Oh, yeah, okay, that makes sense. I can just throw that in there. So, specular. But I'm not gonna step it. I'm gonna... Oh, well. Just keep it like that for now. Yikes. Okay then. Alright, so now we also get some specularity in there, and again I'm still using the standard shader, the Unity standard shader right here, so I'm not doing anything special, and I can increase the smoothness and get some Jesus, I need to get rid of the reflections. So if I drag this here, you can see there is a specular dot. Alright, I'm going to hit the reflections now because they annoy me. If I say like a normal shader in the forward setting, but that's the same. It's not exact, I mean, syntax wise, yeah, well, it's not the same thing as in forward, like as an object shader. You can maybe consider it to be closer to an image effect, because it actually is an image effect. It takes a bunch of textures and uses the data on the textures to get the shading. But you can see that it is like it has buses and CG and all that stuff. It's not that different from an actual object shader, because I mean all shaders, you know, are pretty much the same in their essence. I mean in the way they work with the buses and the fragment and all that stuff. Okay, I'm gonna get rid of the reflections too. So gonna go here, internal deferred reflections. Gonna grab that. Shader completely ignored. All right. That's cool. Getting rid of all that stuff for now. I will probably need them later, but whatever. I can also replace the deferred reflections with my custom shader. Yeah, with my custom shader here. Alright. And now I can go here and just whoops, that didn't work. I mean, okay, I guess I wanted to be dramatic, but whatever. There we go. Thanks for the follow, SizzlerB. Oh, and Red Studio. Cool, so now I can have smoothness. I can have little smoothness as a treat and not get any reflections. If I need to get some sort of stylized reflections later on, I can maybe do that. You can assume that the deferred shader is, well, not a post-processing, it's actually the processing, so it's not post. But you can assume that it's an image effect, because it does operate in screen space. You just get like screen space, these screen space snapshots, the albedo, the smoothness, the specular, and the normal, and you're calculating the final image based on these. So it's the deferred shading is just like a big image effect. Alright. No, I'm not sure I want 4 bonds. That could be like fixed on in a different place, like some global properties or something. And also a cool thing is that I'm using the specular color for the specular. So that means that if I change this to be a specular setup, and give me some smoothness, it's weird. Anyway, that's operating weirdly. Oh no, actually it's behaving correctly. So when you have a value of 1 in your specular color, you get the color of the reflections, right? You can actually see that. You cannot actually see that because my face was hiding it, but you can see that in the preview. Like if it's dark, you get your albedo color with some like reflections and all that. But if you go towards white, you get the surrounding reflections. But I have disabled the reflections, so you don't actually get these. If I bring these back, so if I say, RGB again, then we get Shiny metallic boy. Maybe I will keep these ones. Maybe use them with metallic. So that's actually something cool. Like I can say, I can learn between 0 and the actual RGB only based on metallic. So I can, whoa, don't I get, what data is this? Data. Alright, let's see what the Unity standard data is again. I think this was in CG includes deferred utilities, like deferred library or whatever. No. Nope, not here. Ah, gbuffer. I think it's in gbuffer. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, it doesn't have the metallicness in there because where is the metallicness? Wait, hold up. I think I'm being stupid right now. Yeah, technically there is no metallicness when it comes to deferred, because it's actually doing what I am planning to do. It all comes down to the specular color. So you can imagine the G buffers don't actually hold, and yeah, you could see that from here as well. I am being stupid. The G buffers don't actually hold the metallic values of the materials. Hey Dane, it's not HDRP. It's built-in cell shading in deferred. So yeah, the metallicness is not stored in the G buffers because you don't really need it, because you already have the specular color in the G buffers, and that can be calculated based on the metallicness. Thanks for the follow, Goofball Beginners. Alright. Now I am kind of confused now though. Hold up. Wait, I shouldn't be confused. Yeah, now everything is using deferred. You missed that day. Maybe if you stay like for a couple of minutes more, you will also start using deferred only. Oh yeah, it's yeah, I'm not using shader graph. It's all shader coding. I have multiple streams of ranting about shader graph. So yeah. I'm trying really hard right now to do this. Okay, maybe I am going to cheat. I am going maybe to cheat a little bit. So here's my deferred shader. I want to see my occlusion. G buffer 0, or I mean, is it here somewhere? Yes, I do have it in the data. Okay. God damn it. Hold up. Hopefully this stream will be a good place to check it out, Dane. Alright, God damn it. I'm this close. I'm this close to writing a deferred shader right now. Oh, damn it. Or, you know what? Let's play a little bit. Let's be naughty a little bit. Okay, I'm gonna remove the occlusion thing. Okay. Oh, Richard, are you sure that you want to open that can of worms? Because I'm already like 2 hours in the stream, and if I start ranting, this stream is gonna be long. Well, here's the thing. In general, I will try to be as objective as I can, right? So in general, I prefer shader code because it's much easier to experiment, for me at least, to experiment with different things and yeah, other people know. No, well, here's the thing. When in shader code you do like a lot of math stuff, like all this line is super easy to write in code, but like when it comes to nodes, this would be, I don't know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, at least 9 or 10 nodes or something to write this thing. So there's this, okay, and if I also wanted to, I don't know, try and subtract the specular instead of add it, I can just do this and this back again and save and go back, and it would be all already. But you know, in a node environment, I would have to disconnect one thing and the other thing and delete a node and add another node and then connect 3 inputs to the new node just to change a plus to a minus. So, you know, there's practical things like that. It's so much easier to like move stuff around, to override stuff, to comment out stuff. In general, like, I don't, for me, the coding workflow is much better. Yeah, for me, code is definitely more flexible. Like, now I'm just, you know, going over code versus visual editors, all right? And then we can start talking about shader graph. Or, you know what, before I even get to shader graph, we can start talking about URP and HDRP. Because of the way these are written, a lot of stuff that used to work in built-in are not working the same way in URP and HDRP. Some stuff are not there at all, some stuff are moved around or whatnot. So, you know, here in the I'm also using the built-in render pipeline to write code because it's much more flexible to expose stuff and to play around with inner workings and all that stuff. Okay, so there's this, and then there's shader graph. Okay, I would be alright if shader graph was a good node-based visual editor for shaders, but it's not. It lacks so many features. It is slow. The UX is horrible in some cases, and yeah, I cannot even with shader graph. It's getting there. It's getting better and better every time, but it needs so much time to actually be comparable to coding shaders. Yes, exactly. If you have joined my Discord server, I recently had a big rant for some stuff, especially around all the things that are going to, you know, come in the roadmap for shader graph. So yeah. yeah, Dane. It's only missing a Steam wishlist page, really, and maybe a Kickstarter. Okay, where was I? Well, yeah, to be honest, long-term early access is true for every piece of software ever, but yeah. Did you come from a coding background, Red, or did you just like start now with shaders and shader graph? Let me just change the theme of the stream real quick. There we go. At least see the product performance. Yeah, well, then it's literally the least they could do to actually show us what they want to do with it. It's literally the least they could do. But having in the roadmap for a future version that undo and redo should be instantaneous as a feature in the future for like a very essential tool, having to say that, you know, in the future undoing won't take like 10 seconds in a big graph. Don't get me wrong, node-based tools in general are really good, and especially for beginners in shaders and people that are not used to code, and artists and designers. It's really awesome, and shader graph has so many capabilities for that. Oh yeah, the undo is a nightmare. Every time I undo like by a reflex, I'm like, oh fuck, and wait like 5 seconds, and then obviously I don't redo, I just do it manually. And here's another thing, again, now you're making me rant. And here's another thing. Why does shader graph share the same undo stack with the scene view? Why? Like, I'm moving stuff around in my scene and I wanna go back with undo, and I do a bunch of undos, and then suddenly I'm undoing the graph changes, and sometimes obviously I also have to wait a bunch of seconds for the undo on the shader graph to take place, and sometimes I don't even realize that I did that, and you know, then I go back to my shader in my shader graph and I'm like, you know, why is it like that? I changed this. Oh yeah, well, Meats, they have done so much. Now, every time you mention that Unity is really slow and you get like this bar in the middle that it's saying waiting for X seconds or minutes, and you ask them why the crap is taking so long, and I get this bar that's saying that, you know, you've been waiting for 2 minutes to get into play mode, and they will tell you this is actually a feature. We added this bar to let you know that it's doing stuff in between so that you don't think that Unity froze. And you know, you're like, okay, that's cool. Have you tried maybe not making me wait for 2 minutes? Yeah, it is frozen, but it lets you know that it's frozen. All right, I'm getting a slight migraine thinking about all the stuff around Unity and shader graph and all that. So going back to the shaders here, as I mentioned, I'm using like the default Unity standard shader, and I made a standard surface shader, and I can use that, and you can see that it's still working all right. Oh, that's right. Wait. Okay, yeah. So, I wanted to do this thing where I only get reflections on metallic if I have metallic, right? So if I turn the smoothness all the way up, let me get the reflections back to their original place, right? So now, because I have the smoothness all the way up, the deferred reflections see that, oh, this is smooth, so let's slap on some reflections and make it shiny. But I don't want this reflection. But if I am using metallic, I want to have these reflections. Alright, but I don't want them when I'm not using metallic. But the thing is that, as I mentioned, the metallic information is not going to the G buffers. The metallic information is being used internally in the surface, the standard lighting, whatever crap this is doing, and it's adjusting the specular color that is being sent to the G buffer. I don't have immediate access to the specular color, but I can see it. So one thing I'm definitely not going to use is the occlusion. Okay, I'm not gonna have occlusion textures on this thing. It's stylized. I don't need occlusion textures. And the occlusion is something that I can get I can get from the surface output standard, right? I'm going to set that to metallic, to the metallic property. I'm gonna all right. Oh, crap. Okay, it's not working as intended. It's not working as intended. I know why. I think. Okay. Okay, so occlusion is getting rid of all ambient coloring, which I'm not sure I want. I probably don't want that. It's gonna make me do it. Hold up. What if instead of this I used this? Nope, still the same. Okay. Okay, what if I remove this? Still the same. Okay. So there is a point somewhere in this process, in the deferred process, where it's applying the occlusion and emission and all that stuff. Boom. I think it's this one. Or is it this one? Let's do something stupid. No. No, it's not. Probably not that one. I'm so very confused. Okay, let's try and just return the color to see if things... It still gets affected by occlusion. And use the search. Oh, yeah, exactly. I have downloaded the built-in shaders, Dane, from Unity's archive, so I'm just opening them like that. You can't find them in the solution or something. They're internal, very internal. Oh, any included file on an HLSL thing. Yeah, no, I definitely can't. Even if the files exist in the project, I wouldn't be able to find them from here. I could find them from the file explorer, but not like the internal things. Is that... Whoa. Unit deferred calculate light params. That shouldn't be it. Well, yeah, then, because yeah, .shader files use shader lab, which can be CG or whatnot, and HLSL is just pure HLSL. Screw that. I'm gonna make a custom fragment vertex shader. So screw that. Yeah, okay, whatever, magenta boy. So yeah, I made a simple vertex fragment, haven't changed it at all right now. And you can see the boy here and here, but if you go on the debug view, for the albedo at least, because we only have albedo right now, the boy is not here. Why is that? Because the vertex fragment shader as it is right now only works with forward. So I have to make it work with deferred. And because I can't quite remember all the things I need to do, let's see. I think I need to, yeah, just throw that stuff in there. I need to say light mode deferred. And instead of this, I need to add the G buffers. How exactly was that? It's like this. Now this won't be returning anything, it will just write onto the G buffers. We also don't need fog because that fog doesn't really work here. As you probably know, the fog, this fog, like the shader, the fog in the object shader doesn't work with deferred, so you have to add it as a post process. And I can take that. I also do need the I do need the normals, so I'm gonna have to put them in wall space. So wall unity object to wall normal, the normal, there we go. Does it work? Yeah. All right, so okay, things are looking a bit weird. Why is he like transparent? But at least now you can see that I do get at least the albedo information here. And the normals look good as well. Oh, it's probably because I don't have any shading going on. So let me there is a quick way to do that. Hold up. Is that it? I think that's it. Shader. Sorry about that. Let's see. I'm trying to find, there's a quick way to get shadow casting using a pass. Thank you. Using a pass, but I can't find it, damn it. I can't remember where I saw that. It was a toon shader by Unity that was using a pass. I think it was something like after this. Damn it. I will find it. Okay. I found it, never mind. Not sure what's going on here though. Why is it like transparent? I thought that would fix it because he could be writing to the depth and all that. But something is definitely weird. Let me see if there's something wrong with the stuff I pass here. No. Oh, it's because... No? There we go. No, I'm not really getting any... should that be... No. Okay, let's add some things here. So, smoothness. Smoothness. Come on. And I want to add the metallic as well, but it will work in a weird way. let's add this for now. It's not reacting to the emission stuff though. I'm not sure why is that. Split components and breakout components. Well, I guess it's better to have more nodes that work than one node that doesn't work. And I'm talking about the swizzle node in Unity, in shader graph. Okay, what's going on with the emission? Oh wow, that's specific. Can I remove that? What does it really want? Yeah, it really wants that emission. Is it something to do with reflections? So if I go back here and nope, just reflections. This is annoying, but anyway, maybe I will still get to do what I want. So, oh, I don't pass the smoothness here. So let me do that. Because that's okay. Okay, so I can get some smoothness from this. If I make it be RGB again, what's gonna happen? I'm missing some data. I'm missing some data for sure. Why? Let's go. Okay, what is this doing? Putting this here, putting this there. I'm definitely doing something wrong, but I don't know what. Am I missing anything? It's opaque. Gonna add some more includes just in case. I'm not getting any ambient lighting, I'm not getting any reflections. Like something is going on with the data I end up writing to the gbuffer. There's some stuff I'm missing apparently. But this is what it should work with that. I mean, just takes the color, the diffuse color, specular color, yeah, that's yeah. Weird stuff is happening. I mean, the smoothness itself works because it's being handled by the deferred cell shading. It's all here, okay. Yeah, it gets a specular color from what I'm telling it. And I mean, I guess it is behaving as it should. Because I'm apparently, yeah, that makes sense. Apparently all the lighting information like that comes from ambient lighting and emission is being added on top from the standard shader. So, okay, I will try and do some small digging, just out of curiosity mostly. Oh, I think it should be in here, Unity standard, VRDF, smoothness, roughness, all that stuff. Okay, so surface reduction, specular color, light color, GI specular. This should, oh no, this is the PRDF, right. This is what it ends up doing. Do I get some global illumination crap here? Not really. I do get indirect lighting. I mean, I could get this. It's this one. That would be that wall, normal wall. Well, that worked for everything but this guy. Oh yeah, because that should be on top. Okay, so if instead of that being there, I put that here, now what? Oh, that's a... so that was actually correct. Oh. Yeah. Obviously. Why? Oh, is it because do I need to include things? No, I have included all the things. Oh, damn it. Okay, I'm annoyed. I'm going to bring that back to being a surface shader, because that's just annoying. Actually, I am going to bring back the vertex fragment shader. I think I'm going to need it. Wrong thing. In case you didn't know, when you delete something from the Unity project, it goes to the recycle bin, so you can bring it back. Wait, I had that turned off before? Damn it. Okay. Oh well, it doesn't matter because it's still super wrong. So again, what I want is to get rid of these reflections when I just have smoothness and keep them when I have the metallic. But wait. So this is basically adjusting the specular color, right? No, the specular color stays like that, but if you increase the metallic, you get that. So when you have zero metallic, you get a nice 0.5 . Did I get it stuck there? Did I lose some frames? Anyway, when I have zero metallic, I just get a 0.5 specular color. That's interesting. That's interesting. Okay, I probably won't want completely metallic, somewhat metallic objects. I would probably want totally metallic or not metallic. That's that's from Cerex Vejerka. It's a program for well, video capturing, GIF capturing and all that, and it has a color picker tool as well. It's really handy. Okay. A building. Not sure about that. I haven't heard of anything like that, at least. Okay, I want to try something ugly, okay? Don't judge me. That didn't work. Oh, I know why that didn't work. What is a specular color? Oh, it's not, it's 0.25, right? Yeah, it's... No. Yeah, no, I know. Just... You know what? Thanks for the follow, Anas Bass. Yeah, okay. Okay, so that kind of works. It's super ugly, but it kind of works. I mean, now if it's totally up, but yeah, it's definitely not what I currently want. God damn it. Oh, I still have that. Wait, no, what? Also, metallic gets rid of the coloring, the ambient colors. It's interesting, I guess. Again, not quite sure what to do with this thing. What is stored here? Just a smoothness. Basically, the ideal scenario would be for me to say something like this. Right, but not sure what this should be. Ideally, that would be the metallic, but I don't get the metallic from the G buffers. I just get the specular color. I mean, that could be like can be even worse. I guess that's kind of working. But it's actually wrong now that I think about it, because that should be the diffuse, right? Or like the specular, the actual specular color. Or I have no idea what I'm doing. Wait. Oh, yeah. Also, it should look like that. Okay, so why is that different? Still gets their GP, I guess. Why is it? It feels like it's multiplying. Hey, Thodori. What am I making? Right now, basically I made a deferred cell shading shader for. This is the project thing. And I've been struggling for the past half an hour or so with getting reflections only on metallic surfaces. So yeah, I don't want to have reflections like here, but I want them there. And it's a whole mess with the G buffers and all that crap. So yeah. Well, that's a big discussion, Thodori. I mean, there is some gameplay elements already. I mean, that's what I've been doing in all the previous streams. I just put the character in today, and okay. Let me just fix some things now because it doesn't have. Okay. Screw that. Yeah, I was using a capsule up until now, so I wanted to add a. I'm just trying to keep busy, you know, so wanted to add the character, and then I wanted to make a cell shader, and then wanted to make it in deferred, and so on and so forth, and here we are. So yeah, but it's fairly late already, and there are people waiting for me for Sea of Thieves. So yeah, I did not expect this stream to go that way, because if I knew I would work on shaders, I would maybe mention it earlier. I thought I would maybe do some animation stuff, but yeah, no. Well, not actual animation, just bringing over animations from Mixamo and like making the player controller use them. Yeah, I guess it was productive, I guess. And I converted a bunch of people to start using Deferred now, so I guess that's a pro. I'm gonna just... Thanks for the follow, Olive0. Yeah, I hope you had fun with Deferred stuff. Oh, thanks for the host, Thodori. But yeah, I'm probably gonna be off right now. So yeah, thanks everybody for joining. Thanks for watching me again be frustrated with shaders, and for hearing me rant about shader graph again. Oh, glad to hear that, Lenakis. So yeah, have a great rest of the day and the rest of the weekend, and I will see you in the next stream. Bye bye.